Today's story is about one truth. Pride can destroy love. When we let our anger, our ego, and the gossip of others control our reactions, we lose what is most precious. In this story, a confident businessman and a bold schoolteacher will learn this lesson the hard way. Their clash will shake a whole town. Their misunderstanding will break their hearts. And a sudden crisis will force them to finally see each other's true character. Stay with me. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more powerful emotional stories that help you learn English and grow in life. Chapter 1. The Man Who Walked into Whispering Hill. Daniel Hayes arrived in Whispering Hill with the calm confidence of a man who always won. He stepped out of his dark blue car and breathed in the cool morning air. He was here to renovate the old Carter mansion, a beautiful but broken property he had purchased 3 weeks ago. The townspeople watched him from a distance. Whispering Hill was small. New people were noticed immediately. Wealthy new people were noticed even faster. Daniel liked the attention. He walked with quick steps, strong shoulders, and a quiet arrogance that made people whisper. He believed he understood the world. He believed he understood people. He believed nothing could surprise him. But he was wrong. The surprise walked straight into him the moment he turned the corner near the town school. A young woman with sharp eyes and a confident chin bumped into him. Her books fell. Daniel quickly bent down to help her. She did not thank him. She looked at him with fire. Her voice hit him like a challenge. "Maybe you should watch where you're going." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "I believe you walked into me." She folded her arms. "And I believe you are standing in the middle of the walkway like a statue who thinks he owns the town." Daniel almost laughed. Almost. "Do all teachers speak like this?" She narrowed her eyes. "So you know who I am?" Daniel shrugged. "I know your type." She took one step closer. Her voice turned colder. "Then let me make it easy for you. My name is Emma Clark. I teach English at the school, and I don't enjoy being judged by strangers." Daniel was struck by her courage. Her presence hit him harder than her words, but his pride wouldn't allow him to show it. "Noted," he said, and walked away before she could reply. Emma stared at him as he left. Her heart beat faster. Not from fear, but from annoyance. She muttered to herself, "Arrogant city man." But something in the way he walked, steady, purposeful, confident, stayed in her mind longer than she wanted. Whispering Hill had always been quiet. Something told Emma that quietness was about to end. Chapter 2. Sparks at the School. Daniel's renovation project required him to visit the school for historical documents about the Carter mansion. Emma was standing at the notice board when he entered. Their eyes met. The air tightened. Emma spoke first. "You again." Daniel gave a polite smile. "I'm here for information, not for another argument." "Good," Emma applied. "Arguments with you are exhausting." Daniel looked at her carefully. "You enjoy provoking me." She looked surprised. "You provoke yourself." Her words hit him harder than he expected. Nobody talked to him like this. Not in the city, not in business meetings, not anywhere. Emma turned away, but Daniel followed her to the small office. Miss Harper, the principal, watched them both with interest. She liked stories. She liked gossip even more. "Emma, dear, this gentleman needs access to the Carter files. Please help him." Emma forced a smile. "Of course." They walked together into the dusty archive room. It smelled of old paper and forgotten tales. Daniel reached for a box on a high shelf. Emma moved at the same time. Their hands touched. Both froze. The moment lasted only a second, but something warm, sharp, and unexpected shot through them. Emma snatched her hand away. "Careful," she said too quickly. Daniel's voice was softer. "Are you always this defensive?" Emma stiffened. "I'm not defensive." "You sound defensive." She glared at him. "You sound annoying." For a second, Daniel felt something he couldn't explain. A strange pull, a strange curiosity. Why did she make him feel unsettled? Why did her eyes challenge him so directly? Why did she make him want to step closer instead of walking away? Emma pushed a folder into his hands. "There, everything you need. Now you can leave." Daniel nodded but said nothing. He walked out slowly, but as he reached the door, he glanced back. Emma was watching him. She looked away immediately. But Daniel had seen the truth. Their arguments were hiding something much deeper. Chapter 3. Gossiped in a Small Town. Whispering Hill had only one restaurant, one bakery, and one rumor mill, the townspeople themselves. Within 2 days, everyone had heard about the fireworks between Daniel and Emma. At the bakery, Mrs. Lewis whispered to Mrs. Grant, "Did you hear? Emma Clark practically yelled at the rich newcomer." Mrs. Grant smiled. "Oh dear, that means she likes him." Meanwhile, the two people at the center of the gossip had no idea what was happening. Daniel spent his mornings at the mansion, studying the old structure. Emma spent hers teaching poetry to children who preferred football to Shakespeare. But both kept thinking about the other. Daniel remembered her eyes, bright, fierce, alive. Emma remembered his voice, firm, steady, irritatingly calm. One afternoon, Emma walked past the Carter mansion. The gates were open. Against her better judgment, she stepped inside. The old building fascinated her. Daniel appeared behind her. His voice was low. "You like exploring other people's property?" Emma jumped. "Don't sneak up on people." Daniel replied, "You walked into my renovation site." Emma looked around. "This place, it feels like a story wanting to be told." Daniel nodded. "That's why I bought it." Their eyes met. Something softened between them. For the first time, they talked without fighting. Emma pointed at the broken staircase. "I teach history sometimes. The mansion belonged to the Carter family. People say the last owner left suddenly and nobody knows why." Daniel looked impressed. "You know a lot." Emma shrugged. "I read." Daniel's voice dropped a little. "I liked that." Emma looked away quickly. Compliments from him felt too warm. Before she could respond, 2 townspeople walked by the gate. They stopped. They stared. They whispered. By evening, the whole town had a new rumor. Emma Clark and Daniel Hayes were seen alone in the mansion. Emma heard it first and felt her face burn with frustration. Daniel heard it later and felt something he didn't want to admit. He didn't hate the idea. Chapter 4. Pride Builds a Wall. Emma avoided Daniel for 3 days. Daniel noticed immediately. He walked to the school, pretending he needed more documents. Emma refused to meet him. He visited the bakery. Emma left the moment she saw him. Daniel grew irritated. He wasn't used to being ignored. He wasn't used to being avoided. And he definitely wasn't used to caring. Finally, he found her in the park after school. "Why are you avoiding me?" he asked. Emma didn't look at him. "I'm not avoiding you." "You are." She sighed. "People are talking." Daniel frowned. "Let them talk." Emma glared at him. "You don't understand small towns. Gossip can destroy." "To me, gossip means nothing." "Well, it means something to me." Her voice shook with emotion. Daniel realized it hurt her, and the thought hurt him. He stepped closer. "Emma, we can't control what people say. But we can control our actions," she replied. Daniel felt something rise inside him. Anger, frustration, vulnerability. "You think spending 5 minutes with me is wrong?" "I think you and I are too different." Daniel's pride activated like a shield. "You're right," he said coldly. "We are different. Maybe too different." Emma froze. The warmth between them died instantly. Daniel walked away with quick, sharp steps. Every step felt like he was walking deeper into a mistake. Emma watched him leave. Her heart felt tight. Her eyes stung. But her pride kept her silent. Chapter 5. The Terrible Misunderstanding. The misunderstanding began with one sentence. One sentence said at the wrong place and heard by the wrong ears. Daniel was at the cafe, talking to the mayor about renovation plans. The mayor laughed and said, "You've made quite an impression on the school teacher." Daniel replied, "I don't have time for people who judge me before knowing me." He was talking about the mayor's earlier comment, but Mrs. Lewis, who loved gossip more than bread, overheard only part of the conversation. Within 2 hours, the town believed Daniel Hayes said Emma Clark is judgmental and not worth his time. Emma heard it from 3 different people. Each time the words cut deeper. Her face burned. Her chest tightened. She felt betrayed. That evening, Daniel visited the school again. He wanted to apologize for their argument. He wanted to fix what pride had broken. Emma met him at the door. Her voice was cold. "Don't talk to me." Daniel was confused. What? Why?" "You know what I said." "What did I say?" "You called me judgmental. You said I was not worth your time." Daniel felt the world tilt. "That's not true." Emma stepped back. "I don't want explanations." Daniel's frustration exploded. "Why won't you listen? Why do you always assume the worst of me?" "Because you never show me anything better." Silence followed. Heavy. Sharp. Dangerous. Daniel took a breath. Then he made the worst mistake. He said nothing. He simply turned and walked away. Emma watched him leave. Something inside her cracked. Chapter 6. The night everything changed. 3 days passed. 3 long, painful days. Daniel stayed at the mansion, working alone. Emma stayed at the school, pretending she didn't miss him. On the 4th night, a storm hit Whispering Hill. Rain fell like arrows. Wind screamed. Thunder shook the sky. Emma was leaving the school late when she saw a small child running toward the woods. It was Liam, one of her students. He was crying. Emma rushed to him. "Liam, what happened?" "My dog. He ran into the woods. Mom said not to follow him, but I can't leave him. He's scared." Without thinking, Emma grabbed a flashlight. "We'll find him together." The woods were dark and dangerous during storms. Emma knew it, but she couldn't leave the child alone. They moved deeper into the trees. Rain blinded them. Wind pushed them back. Suddenly, a branch snapped behind them. Emma turned. Her flashlight flickered. Her heart raced. A tall figure stepped out of the darkness. "Daniel." "Emma," he shouted through the storm. "What are you doing out here?" Emma held Liam close. "We're looking for his dog." Daniel's expression changed immediately. "We need to go back. This storm is too strong." "But we can't," I cried. "The dog is still out there." Daniel looked at the frightened boy, then at Emma, then into the storm. He took off his jacket, wrapped it around Liam, and said, "I'll go deeper. You stay with him." "No," I said. "You can't." But Daniel was already running. Rain hit him like stones. Branches cut his arms, but he didn't stop. Emma watched him disappear into the darkness. Her chest tightened, her eyes filled, and for the first time, she understood the truth. Daniel was not the man she believed he was. Chapter 7. The Rescue. Minutes felt like hours. Emma held Liam close, whispering to him, calming him despite her own fear. Then, through the storm, a faint bark echoed. Emma froze. Liam looked up. "That's Max!" Emma's heart jumped. Then she saw Daniel returning. He was soaked, bleeding from a cut on his forehead, carrying the scared little dog in his arms. Emma ran to him. "Daniel!" He handed Max to Liam. "You're safe now." Emma stared at Daniel. Her voice trembled. "You could have died." Daniel shrugged. "I wasn't going to leave the boy's dog out there." Something warm and painful filled Emma's chest. "Why?" she whispered. Daniel looked at her quietly. "Because you care. And I care about what you care about." Emma couldn't speak. She could only look at him, this man she had argued with, avoided, and misunderstood. This man who had risked everything without hesitation. Liam hugged his dog tightly and ran home through the rain. Emma and Daniel stood alone in the storm. "Daniel," Emma whispered, "I'm sorry. I believed the gossip. I believed the worst." Daniel shook his head. "I'm sorry too. I let my pride talk for me." Rain softened around them. The storm began to slow. Their eyes held each other like an unspoken truth. Then Emma stepped forward. For the first time, she held Daniel, and Daniel held her back. Chapter 8. A New Kind of Silence. The next morning, Whispering Hill woke to the biggest surprise of the year. Daniel Hayes and Emma Clark were together, walking, laughing softly, holding hands. Mrs. Lewis almost dropped her bread. Mrs. Grant smiled knowingly. At the school, the children whispered excitedly. At the bakery, people stared with wide eyes. At the mansion, the workers pretended not to gossip. Daniel and Emma ignored all of it. Their silence was no longer cold. It was tender, soft, comfortable. Emma looked at Daniel as they walked toward the mansion. "You still have that cut," she said. Daniel touched his forehead and smiled. "Your fault." Emma laughed. "You chose to run through a storm." "I chose to follow you," he corrected. Emma felt her cheeks warm. The mansion looked different that day. Less broken, more full of possibility. Emma walked inside with him, feeling a strange calm. Daniel held her hand gently. "Emma, can we try again? Without the fighting, without the pride, just us?" Emma looked at him. The man who once irritated her now stood patiently, humbly, honestly. "Yes," she whispered. "We can try." Daniel's smile was small but real, and it felt like the beginning of something beautiful. Chapter 9. The Weight of Words. Their relationship grew slowly but steadily. Daniel opened parts of his heart he had never shared before. Emma softened in ways she never expected. But small towns never stopped talking. People whispered, people judged, people said things they shouldn't. Emma worried. Daniel noticed. One evening, she stood by the school gate, troubled. Daniel approached. "What's wrong?" "People, they're saying we're too different. They're saying it won't last." Daniel stepped closer. "Let them talk." Emma sighed. "You can ignore them. I can't." Daniel touched her cheek. "Emma, we can't control their words, but we can control ours." Emma looked at him. Her heart steadied. Her breathing slowed. Daniel continued. "We lost each other once because of gossip. We won't make that mistake again." Emma nodded. She leaned into him, finally trusting the truth she had tried so hard to deny. Daniel Hayes was not a mystery anymore. He was her choice. Chapter 10. Love Without Misunderstanding. Winter arrived softly in Whispering Hill. The air turned cool. The leaves turned golden, and the Carter Mansion's renovation neared completion. Daniel invited Emma to see the finished library, a room filled with warm colors and gentle light. Emma stepped inside and gasped. "It's beautiful." Daniel looked at her, not the room. Not as beautiful as the woman who inspired it. Emma blushed deeply. "Daniel." He reached into his coat. Emma's breath caught. He didn't pull out a ring. He pulled out a small old book, the kind Emma loved. Inside it, he had written, "No more pride. No more fear. No more misunderstandings. Just us. If you want it." Emma covered her mouth with her hand. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "I want it." Daniel took her into his arms. For the first time, their silence was peaceful, complete, perfect. Outside, Whispering Hill continued its usual gossip. But inside the restored mansion, two hearts finally understood each other, and no misunderstanding could ever break them again. The reality. Thank you for staying until the end of this story. Today, we learned one powerful truth. Pride destroys connection. Gossip destroys trust. Assumptions destroy love. Daniel and Emma suffered not because they were different, but because they reacted with ego instead of understanding. They listened to others instead of listening to each other. But when crisis came, everything became clear. Character matters more than reputation. Actions speak louder than rumors. And real love begins only when we drop our pride and open our hearts. Now, here is my challenge for you. In your own life, who do you need to understand better? Who do you need to forgive? And what pride must you let go of to finally grow? If this story touched your heart, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs this message. Your story of growth begins now.